Hello and welcome to another episode of the ADHD Skills Lab. This is another skills session, and I'm going to be talking specifically to those of you who have built a business, but you still feel like it could fall apart the second you stop pushing, the second you take a break, the second you get sick, the second you go on maternity leave, and you're starting to have that anxiety, because that was me. I want to paint the scene for you. So imagine it's 4:30 in the morning. I'm awake. It's my morning. I'm starting with my laptop and my coffee, decaf these days. But now I'm not spiraling. I'm not staring at Slack, overwhelmed by all the different fires that are coming at me from all of the different people that I hired and have no idea how to fit together. I'm not frozen, wondering what I should be doing, wondering what is going to be the best thing for me to do in my business right now. Because that used to be 4 years ago, that used to be more of my reality. I would wake up in the morning and, tell me if this is your experience. I would wake up in the morning with a pit in my stomach. I would have that anxiety that it was all going to go away. It was all going to disappear. And nowadays, that isn't the life that I live. And I really wanted to share with you why that is and kind of break it down for you, because I know a lot of people feel the same way. So the first thing I would say is just be consistent is not a strategy. It is not a strategy. It's a strategy for people who do not understand executive dysfunction, and it probably works really well for them. I would also, recommend experimentation and iteration. We talk about that in the program. But if you ever felt like you should do something, but you just can't make yourself, that's actually really, really normal when you are ADHD and when you're an ADHD business owner or entrepreneur. We have systems that work differently for our brain. And if you don't have ADHD, you just don't even know that stuff is missing. So it's kind of like, sometimes those people in suits or sometimes without shirts on these days, will say things like, you've just got to stay consistent. You've just got to get it every single day. And that might work for a little while, but there's more to it than that. And often that can lead to burnout. And there's nothing wrong with that system for people whose brains work like that. We are just not those people. If you have ADHD, that's not how your brain works. That's not how your brain is built. And you need a different strategy, which is exactly what happened to me. It's a big, big shift. So let's talk about the cycle that ADHD entrepreneurs can get trapped in. So we are, twice as likely in some cases to become entrepreneurs, but we're also really, really likely to burn out unless we build systems that work for our brains. So, if you look at research, for example, from the Netherlands, you'll find that there is, studies that show that people who have ADHD are more likely to engage in entrepreneurial activities. Who among us hasn't said, I want to run a business or tried to run a business? Even before I started this, I was, trying to run businesses, doing different things. And the problem is, even if you make it work, which you can, there's a lot of reasons to say that with ADHD, it can be a real strength of ours. Even if you make it work and you grow it fast, you still don't have the systems underneath it. You have the disorganization, the decision fatigue. There's no way to repeat what is working. And so what we do, and actually I was talking to a community member about this literally today, we just go, you know what? Let's give it 150%. Let's just try harder. Let's just push through. Let's just white knuckle even harder. Burnout, family problems. Who's heard of those things? Let's just keep going. And we just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And so we can do that. You could even get to 200, maybe 500K doing that. But eventually you're going to hit a wall. Your body is not made to do that. The systems that got you there just can't take you further and you crash out. Or honestly, you self-sabotage. You're like, screw this. It's not worth my whole life. And you get stuck. And if you're using adrenaline as a project manager, you'll often find that your nervous system is going to bill you for that adrenaline. So keep that in mind. So what actually worked? This system is simple. That is the first thing that I will say. It does not involve a million different strategies. It does not involve you needing to go ahead and put your shoes on or take your shoes off at different times. I've heard a lot of people talk about that on the internet. That sounds cool. I haven't seen research to back it up. Maybe there is some, but you can do this shoes on, shoes off, whatever you want to do. So this is 3 systems. I'm going to go through what they are and 6 routines. That's all you need. 3 systems, 6 routines. That's it. Close up shop. You're now running a successful business. So the first system is the prioritization filter. You've probably heard me talk about this a bunch. If you haven't, I will drop a link to the 2-minute focus formula, which is the start of the prioritization filter. And it basically helps you go, okay, I don't know what to do. My life is on fire. I don't know where to start. This isn't about just color coding. We're going to go in and we're going to say what's truly urgent, what is truly important, and learn to identify that. Because with ADHD, and I'm sure you guys have whole experienced this, everything feels important, or we're sitting on a couch ignoring everything. It's kind of where it is. And sometimes everything feels important, so we're sitting on that couch ignoring everything. That can happen too. So I have a prioritization filter system that I've been teaching for years and years and years, and it really, really, really helps. There are 2 routines that go with that. The 80-20 goal routine. What is actually going to move the needle? What is the important stuff you have to focus on? It's not always what you think. Sometimes we think the shiny stuff is the important stuff. It's actually the stuff that's been making you money this whole time. What is your 80-20? And then a decision-making routine. Often with ADHD, we'll find ourselves going, oh, I really need to do this thing. Tell me if this is you. I really need to do this thing. What should I do about it? Oh, and then we'll think about it. We'll talk about it. We might ask a couple of other people about it, and then it will just sort of spiral away, and then it will come back and it will spiral away again. And then maybe we'll forget about it altogether and just go with our gut and make a decision based on that. So we cut through all of that. We have an ADHD friendly decision-making routine based on research. You guys know everything I do is based on research, and that is going to help people stop to spin and actually start to make their systems. So this is the first section, getting yourself focused. Got 1 system, 2 routines, get yourself focused. That's it. The second system is, okay, how do we get your business focused? How do we get your team focused if you have a team? Or maybe if you want a team, but you've never been able to get one because it's always felt like too much work. So I'm going to talk to you about something that you're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm going to tell you right now. I had a meeting with my team this morning, and they used the word fun and interesting and easy to see when we were talking about this. So take a guess what you think it is. Basically, your business isn't broken, but you can't see your bottlenecks clearly enough yet. And one of the ways to see your bottlenecks is systems and processes documents, SOPs. They sound super boring, but they're actually really important and not that boring if they are done correctly. Most people with ADHD actually need to build out the plan so that you can see the pipeline of how your business is going so you can identify your bottleneck. You don't need to necessarily hire more people. You just need to find out who that person is, or whether it's maybe you and you're doing a bunch of stuff that's in a broken funnel. There's no point in killing it at sales if your marketing sucks and no one's coming through to that space. So what we teach with the SOP pipeline, which I'm so excited about, guys, you have no idea. When I worked through this and learned about, sensory processing disorder and its connection to ADHD and realized how helpful this was, it was a game changer, both for me and then for other people as well. Basically, you get a visual pipeline understanding of what's stuck, what needs to be done. And it's not a spreadsheet. It's not a 30-page document you're going to get lost in. It's a clear flow that connects what you have to do, how it's connected to, actually making sales, actually keeping your clients. And then from there, going in and saying, okay, whose job is it? Let's give them information on whose job is it? And then the SOP doc, the actual doc of how it gets done, gets put in that spot. So you can just click on it, review it. That becomes part of the cadence that we'll talk about later. So that is how we organize our team. 1 system, like I said, and then we add in 2 routines. The step into focus routine, a classic. I have taught this for years and years. It works across so many different spaces. And this is basically just a system that will take you from I don't really want to do the thing to doing the thing in about 15 to 20 minutes. It uses dopamine transfer deficit theory. It works through working memory struggles, and it will help you be the business owner that you want to be, consistent in what you're doing, which, as we all know, really sucks with ADHD. We do struggle with that consistency. And then we have an ADHD friendly hiring routine. Just because you need to hire somebody doesn't mean that you are very good at it. And you probably know that because you probably tried to hire somebody and you wasted your time, wasted your money. It's a huge, huge thing. I was thinking about it this morning because I think it was Stephen Bartlett was talking about how it's like you'll lose 17 weeks on a bad hire. So I teach you how to hire in a simple ADHD friendly way, something that's going to work for you, for how your brain works, as usual. Get that locked in so you don't have that problem. So now we've focused you, we've focused your team. The next thing we want to look at is, okay, let's look at the money. We want to create a consistent revenue growth system. We want the finances of your business to be set on automate. Basically, we don't want you to be going in and having to do it yourself all the time and being stressed. Trust me, I know. I actually have dyscalculia, and sometimes it was really stressful when I first started, and I didn't fully understand how to look at my books. I didn't understand how my books were helpful, but also how they weren't helpful sometimes, what metrics I needed to even care about, how I would do that with my team. There were so many pieces that made me feel so lost. I have dyscalculia, and now I actually love my metrics. That's crazy. That's how simple these systems are. So you don't have to be a spreadsheet wizard. I'm not one for sure, but I will show you a very simple metric system. You'll see the numbers that work for any business. What are the things you need to know about? What are the things you don't need to know about? The vanity metrics we can safely ignore, and how to build that into your business so that other people are doing it and you're not doing it and it's not stressing you out. And then that pairs with our final two routines, the energy flow framework, how to grow without burning out, how to not self-sabotage, go after the shiny thing. Super, super important. As I said, this is ADHD friendly. We got to get that dopamine in there. And then a leadership loop. How do we just make this a daily cadence, a weekly cadence, set that growth on autopilot? You know what you're doing. Your team is happy. Everything is working together. So that is the process. And I want to talk to you a little bit about why this works, because ADHD means you don't just need systems, you need ones that work when you don't feel like it, when the dopamine has worn off. This isn't just about motivation. This is why I'm not building 100 strategies and tips that you can try and ignore and try and ignore. We're building one cohesive 3 systems, 6 routine space so that it's going to work for you for months, for years afterwards. When I work with clients, they always say it gets under their skin, I get in their head, and next thing you know, it's working, for them and they're growing. And I've seen it happen before. We've got people like Simon Mundy, for example, who did the prioritization filter. And then 6 months later, he messaged me. He was writing his book at the time and was like, I still use that thing that you taught me. And it just becomes a part of your habits. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's like putting on the right pair of glasses. So that is exactly what I want for you. So how does this work? Basically, how this process works is, 2 weeks in, you start to feel focused. Things stop feeling chaotic. You've got a system for that. You know what you're doing. It starts to just, have a bit more time. I'm okay. You start to breathe a little bit. And then from there, you build momentum. From there, you build momentum in your team. You start to go, okay, well, now I can do things. Let's build out the system. That's interesting. That thing's fully broken. That might explain why we weren't getting revenue. Let's put that in. Oh, that person has no systems and processes for how this is working. They were just kind of doing it when they got around to it, but it was a super important part of the pipeline. Let's go ahead and put that in. And then from there, we're talking metrics. But at this point, the metrics are looking good. They're looking good. Oh, it's such a great feeling. And so you're putting in metrics, you're putting in those systems. Everything's feeling good. Everything's looking good. You're feeling focused, and it just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds from there. That is what we want for you. So if you're the bottleneck in your business, it is not a discipline problem. It is a systems problem, an ADHD systems problem specifically. So we've all had that experience. I know that. I built this because I needed it, and now it's helped hundreds of ADHD founders, entrepreneurs. I wanted to help you too. So if you've been pushing through and white knuckling, doing it all yourself, I just wanted to share that this program exists, that this process exists for you, because no matter what, whether you try the free 2-minute focus formula, whether you try the free 2-minute focus formula, whether you go ahead and just read about this and understand how it could work, whether you go and do the research for yourself, or whether you decide, let's go fast, let's make it happen, let's see what is happening here at Unconventional Organization. I want you to have the systems that are going to work for your brain. I don't want you to white knuckle. I don't want you to burn out. I've done that before. You deserve to have a business that makes money for you, a life that you can enjoy, you can see family, and the ability to be present where and when you want without the stress and constant overwhelm. It doesn't have to be like that. So, this is my program. I wanted to share it with you guys because I feel like I haven't fully shared it with everybody before. And, for me personally, I do have a program. It's really high touch. It's working with a specific community of ADHD entrepreneurs who have applied to work with me. I'm actually thinking of capping it because I want to keep that really exclusive support available for people that need it. And then obviously, sharing with you guys those little pieces that come from it as well. So if that is something that you're thinking about, you're thinking, man, sometime this year, that would be pretty cool. You can just message me. You can just DM me, or you can message me on Instagram. I'll probably drop a link, unconventionalorganization.com or at unconventionalorganization on Instagram. And just tell me, tell me if this is something that you're interested in. And that'll probably help me decide how many spaces I want to have available for it this year, because I really care about you guys building these businesses. I want to know everything. I want to be your biggest cheerleader. I want to make this happen for you with ADHD. So that is it for the ADHD Skills Lab. Wanted to share this system with you. Thank you so much for coming along, and I will see you next time. See you later.